Hey, Matt. Super Smash Brothers. Looking forward to it?
Yeah.
Yes! Okay, never mind. Hey, Jeremy. You looking forward to Super Smash Brothers? Sharky, what about you, man?
It's a ROM hack, right?
Yeah, I'll give it a spin. Got to see if my Mario can still kick ass like in the N64 days.
I'll try it multiplayer. I want that WarioWare stage.
Jen.
What? What?
Are you looking forward to Super Smash Brothers?
Yes.
Moderately.
Adventure mode?
Not at all.
Not as much as Soul Calibur.
Fuck yeah! Rob. Are you excited for Super Smash Brothers?
What's that?
Cesar, what about you, man?
Wait, what? Yes. No. Yes.
Hey, Mike. You looking forward to Super Smash Brothers, right?
Well, I was looking forward to it until I found out that Ganondorf is actually a clone of Falco.
Hell yes.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Like, Ridley's not in the game as a playable character. Hell yeah.
Yeah, no. I love cartoons.
Actually, I don't even want to talk about this anymore because it's fucking pissing me off. So could you go away?
You know, I like real fighters.
Am I looking forward to it?
Yeah. The response is mixed. Looks like we're gonna have to cover it. People care.
Okay, fuck it. We'll cover it then.
I don't wanna go to work today. Wanna stay home and play all my video games on the One Up Show. You know you'll be a star on the One Up Show. You already are. Every day, this life's a holiday. One up, 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 one up on the One Up Show. One up, 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 one up on the One Up Show.
When you first had the idea to do the HD res, like, how did you bring that up to Sega and kind of, you know, what were they into it right away, or were they like, well, that's kind of...
Yeah, I went to Sega. I asked to the Sega's management, current management. I want to make the res in a high def, high res condition, and that was easy. We had the license from Sega, and we invested ourselves and worked with the Hexadrive.
I've seen people posting on message boards saying like, you know, I had Res, I had it on PS2 or Dreamcast or whatever, and I played it to death. I played it for years, and I cannot imagine buying another version and playing it even more. And all I have to say to those people is like, you have not played Res yet.
Just couldn't believe how clean it looked. Like when I was playing through it, the whole time I was like, wow, like this is fucking awesome. This is what the game should have always looked like.
It's so clean now that it actually feels like they're real vector graphics. You know, not just wireframes, you know, like outlines,
Sprites floating across the screen or
yeah,
whatever.
they're not just like polygons that are done up ghetto style to look like vector graphics. Now it looks like vector graphics.
One thing we were talking with Miz about too is like you know, I asked like, you know, was Res maybe inspired by the Underworld Res song and stuff like that, or did they try to use those kinds of songs in it too?
We had many reasons. You know, those kind of the experiment. You know, using the famous music, and but we tested, and I felt, you know, all music has, you know, the reason people wants to dance, people wants to sing, you know, and I always, you know, finding the music for, you know, very suitable music for this game, and so the result, I gave up to use that kind of music because it's really good, but you know, it's not the music in the reason, you know, for the game, you know. So I need the catharsis of the game, you know. So, you know, in a call and response process.
I'm hoping that people will, you know, if they download Rez and they play it, that they will start to see it, you know, like we see it in a larger historical context. Just kind of, you know, opening up this floodgate for this type of gameplay that just didn't exist beforehand. And, you know, not just in terms of music games, and not just in terms of, you know, like nailing a specific thing, but I mean just in terms of, you know, synesthesia. It's just the kind of thing that, you know, gaming is perfect for. And I think as, you know, as we're currently writing the history of the art form, as the years go on, we're going to look back at Rez as kind of the first real demonstration that the gaming medium, the gaming art space, is the best space for that kind of experience.
Right. No, I agree. I think it really is like one of the most important games of like the last decade or so. You know, it really, you know, it was the first. I think it was like pretty much the first time when you could actually, you know, first time you could create music by interacting in a game. One thing we were talking about with Miz was like, you know, we asked like, are they going to do, you know, maybe a downloadable skit track, you know, whatever like that, and you know, just because, you know, they've done that with Luminous and stuff. You know, he said definitely not. Like he said that this game was, you know, this was like a complete experience when it came out. He did not want to ever like change that.
Besides, like, why flood the market when you want to save those? Like, if you have a new idea, I'm sure they want to save it for Rez too.
Yeah. Well, that was what he said too. He was like, you know, if I'm gonna focus on any effort into Rez, I want to make it on a new Rez. And you know, he was also saying that he wanted to maybe take advantage of today's technology a little bit more.
I want to make a, you know, this kind of the new frontier, new experience with music and the visual, and not only art power. Now I'm thinking about the, you know, the using the programming power, you know, to go to beyond the next stage and the next level.
Didn't you say, aren't you going to put this on PS3? And he was like, no, this is like an Xbox 3. This is the right audience for an Xbox 360.
So there's no reason, you know, to release this game on the other platforms. But we just, you know, felt to just, you know, start.
Right.
Restart. And
so there might be more with Rez. Like,
yeah. And yeah, we felt the Xbox 360 is the best platform, you know, providing this game on XBLA.
Right.
Once you start having to make packaging and produce discs and get it out to retail, there's a big, like, you know, win-loss scenario. It's like
I'm actually really glad that Q is so on the forefront of all that stuff. Like, you know, having done Luminez, having done Every Extend, and now having done Rez. Like, I don't. Q is the exact developer. Like, I don't need them to ever put out a retail disc ever again. I would love Rez 2 to come out from the get-go as a network title, downloadable on
to your
mind. Exactly. And I'm glad that you know, that might actually be an option for them. If they could do a sequel to Rez that was a download game instead of a retail product, and that came out and it went into everyone's hands, I think it would be huge.
Some
people I know who have owned the game for like 5 years and have never unlocked Area 5.
Oh wow.
See, and then they are missing out on
And
the
then
entire
you're
point of the
missing
game.
out, they are.
Because
That's
that's
where
where
it
it
all
all
comes together.
really all comes together.
Yeah, it's weird when I hear that because I never would expect that people haven't unlocked. I mean, to me, after playing Area 5 is the game to me. Like, if I go back and I don't have
Like
time
everything
to
else-
sit through the whole game, I'll just play Area 5, and that's the part of Res that I really wanted to experience.
Like those playing the original one, that's like having dinner with no dessert. You know, you really have to, because I mean, every Area 1 through 4 is all like the Goa trance, all that really high speed stuff. But then like when you get to Area 5, the beats knuckle down. It's just nasty, raunchy, and dirty. That track is dirty as fuck.
Killer. The mind.
You know what I love about Level 5 though too is that like, I'm a big fan of that song, the Fear is Mind Killer song. I think we all are. But like the best version of that song is the one that you play in the
It's a real study in contrast because it's hammering you with these beats, and once you beat one form, all of a sudden it clears out, a new message comes out. By the time you finally beat the game, and you've got all this like video coming in, and like you look like you're viewing the planet from outer space. It's just like it's such an awesome experience. Don't supersize that Happy Meal for a week, There you go. Boom, $10. No reason not to have it.
Matt. So, do we have Super Smash Brothers in yet?
Not yet, no.
Are we gonna get it in soon? Because we want to do it on the show, cover it,
I'd say yes.
But do we know when we're gonna get it in, the import?
Coming up pretty soon, probably a couple days, maybe Friday. Hard to say.
Can we get that for the show? We want to do some coverage on it, obviously.
It looks likely.
Well, when would that be?
See how long it takes me to unlock stuff.
Okay, so not too soon then. Okay. I'll try my luck elsewhere.
Okay.
Let your arms enfold us through the dark of night.
So when you think about video games, I think the last thing you think about is relaxation. It's pretty much every game stimulates you in some sort of way. And it's not that this game doesn't stimulate your mind, because it does. In fact, we've talked about how we think it could even be a teaching tool. With this game, you can sit down, you can hold the controller, you start playing, and it relaxes you. It's so different than any other game that I've played.
When you're done, it's not like, there's some hard line here that says, all right, you cross that line, now you're done. It's just like, I'm satisfied.
I thought they might just drop you in the ocean and say swim, figure it out. But there is a healthy dose of Japanese game structure built on top of this. I mean, you have your boat, which is the hub where you can do various things like change your outfits and look at your inventory, and you talk to a cat who gives you new missions and is one of the major sources, aside from those males, of the narrative throughout the game.
You do this dive request, or you'll do a photo request, or Kat will say, hey, why don't you explore this area? And you find something, and when you find it, you can tell oh, this was a big thing, and Kat will actually radio down to you and say, hey, you found a such and such. We should get that back up to the boat and analyze it.
Right.
But take your time.
You can go anywhere on your map that you want to go at any time, and you're still gonna feel that sort of single player game progression because the game unlocks the things that you want it to unlock when you get there.
Exactly. It's just you and the marine life.
Sure.
And you're interacting with them, you're poking them, you're stroking them, you're feeding them, you're using your light pin, you're blowing the underwater whistle, all these things to get their attention so you can learn more about them. And then occasionally when you encounter a truly epic underwater sea creature, usually the really large ones, but not always. Sometimes it's a really small one that's hard to find.
Right.
But you find this really large creature and you see it and it stops the game. It makes you take in what you're watching. And you'll generally do it with your jaw dropped.
Right.
And when that cut screen ends, you'll go swimming after it and you'll pet it or whatever, just trying to see what it is, and then you'll probably try to grab onto it and you'll just sit there and you'll watch it and you'll be happy. Just sitting there watching your guy hang on to this thing. And it's an indescribable joy to just be like, wow, I'm riding a whale.
It's less about, avoiding enemies or quick reflexes. In fact, there are no enemies in this game at all. Nothing can hurt you at all. There's no damage. There's
Just
no health.
some genuinely scary looking fish in certain parts.
Part of the joy of this game for me and for you, I know, has been playing the game with our own MP3s.
Oh yeah.
And we have used that too. I think it's full advantage today.
We have abused it. That's what we did. We abused it.
Yeah. Hey, how are you?
I think that there's going to be a lot of appeal in a title like this for creative types, though, because these are truly the people who are going to flesh out their own experience.
Right, exactly.
They're going to have, a wide variety of songs. Maybe like we had some IDM going. We had a little bit of movie soundtrack. We did a little bit of jazz.
Yeah.
And I did like Herbie Hancock. And if you go through a nice, wake up 6 a.m, in game time, and then dive and boom, 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 boom. My girlfriend was asking me, is there any difference between, putting your soundtrack on an SD media and playing it in the game versus muting the game and playing the music on your own stereo? And I found out very quickly, and even, we verified this here, that once you mute the game sounds, you lose that Darth Vader breathing and you lose all the bubbling and stuff. You take away a huge component of it.
It is, yeah. It's strangely like those little sound effects make it that much more atmospheric.
I've logged a lot, like 14 and a half hours at least.
Yeah.
And I see something while you're playing and I think, shit, I haven't found that yet.
I gotta go back.
I have to go back, I have to go swimming, I have to find that and identify it for myself.
Totally.
And not only that, but I have to go and find it 3 times.
Right.
Because I want all the information. You can't get all that information from one dive.
Your reward is a text window, which is pretty interesting that it works, and that, if you're the type of person that's interested in underwater sea life, you can get a little bit of information out of it.
For the stuff I've actually looked up myself, everything is factual except the locations of them, because everything is located in the fictional Manoa Sea.
Right.
So it'll say, this can be found in the abyss year-round, but the abyss is a location in the game.
Right.
But other than that, everything they talk about, the coloration, the difference between the sex, the feeding habits,
The length, the size.
size, all that is like real stuff.
Yeah.
You got the online multiplayer aspect, which we tried together.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, and
I mean, aside from the like very limited chat interface, which is like, you know, you kind of tap away on the D-pad and it gives you a few dialogue options.
Yeah.
Very simple, like wait, look here, thanks.
This is cool.
This is cool. Yeah, like I wish, you know, you had chatting or something like that. But
okay,
I mean,
all right. Well, I'm gonna have to. All right, I'm not sure if I disagree or agree with you on that. But originally, I thought yes, the communication is limited, and this is because Nintendo doesn't want us, you know, cursing at each other or what have you.
Yeah, right.
But then I thought, what if you actually scuba dive? You actually have more communication between each other, you know, using this control pad than you would actually have, you know, if you were actually scuba diving, because they wouldn't be able to hear anything you're saying.
No, but of course you have
could
gesture. Yeah, it would
right.
be all gestural commands.
Yeah, so you can maybe use a light pen and draw an arrow to something, or you could say like, come here, or follow me, or something like that.
Sure.
And I found it to be pretty adequate.
What I said when we were playing it was what I still believe, which is this is the opposite of boring. You know, like this game, I can understand how someone could pick it up, start playing, and be like, oh, this is fucking boring. I don't need to do this. I get it. That's fine. But I really think if you're the type of person who, well, one, would like the idea of a game that would be relaxing, and two, like the idea of just experiencing a new environment, kind of like a vacation, you know, like a vacation on a game tick. If someone decided today, like, hey, I want to go diving, or even more than just regular scuba diving, like deep sea scuba diving, and go, you know, visit the depths of the ocean, like not everyone can go do that. This video game seems to at least give you a hint of what that might be like. I don't know, I'm really excited about the prospect of more of this genre of game.
So are you guys even Devil May Cry fans? Like, David, you played all these games for the first time.
I didn't have a PS2, only had Xbox, so I never had a chance to really play the Devil May Cry games. So when this one came along, I wanted to like go through, so I went through Devil May Cry 1, 2, and 3 all last week, and over the weekend I've been going through Devil May Cry 4. When you play them back to back to back to back, it's really noticeable like how Dante's different.
Yeah, the first game was amazing. Everyone loved it. DMC 2 was not as good. And then DMC 3 was so hard, nobody could even play it. So it's weird for Devil May Cry 4, so much is riding on it, and I think they really got it all right. The difficulty, first of all, is perfect.
It is considerably easier in DMC 3.
Starts out
DMC 3, of course, is statistically hard.
Right.
But once you beat the game, you unlock more difficulties. Then you can replay it, and you can get beaten by the enemies as much as you want.
The presentation is pretty amazing, like especially the cutscenes are awesome.
I think the graphics throughout are really, really good. Storytelling is much better than I expected. Like the cutscenes are actually interesting to watch and fairly well acted, fairly well written for Devil May Cry.
And the characters are actually somewhat interesting.
Funny to figure an order official out for a stroll in a hellhole kind of place like this.
Hellhole? Watch your words! Just as foul-mouthed as I had heard, the rumors were true, as were the new ones concerning your demise.
Don't you think that's a little harsh? Killing me because of the way I talk?
Well, I think part of it is because you're playing as Nero, and as a protagonist, he's kind of a serious, like, endearing guy. You really care about his quest. He's very emo and like thoughtful. And then when you get to Dante, he's insane, and he's like going on these long, like soliloquies about his dick. Nero, one of the abilities of his arm is that like grappling thing. It's kind of like a Bionic Commando Lost Planet style gameplay thing, and it allows for more platforming, and it really opened up like how I was traversing through the level.
I was surprised there were a lot of platforming elements.
Yeah,
So just
more
that,
platforming.
the level filled with lasers.
Found the platforming very refreshing, and like it added a lot to the game.
Well, you know, I like the sequences where you can kind of slow down time, and that would affect combat. That was really cool and interesting.
And you know, and the role-playing stuff, like as always in Devil May Cry, you're upgrading your abilities, you're unlocking new stuff. It encourages you to keep playing and fight enemies, because that's the problem. In a lot of games, there's no reason to fight enemies. In this game, you have a reason to have combat with regular enemies.
I know everyone's like Nero's for noobs and all this shit, but I don't know, using the Devil Bringer, there's so many ways you can use it, interestingly, to keep your combos going. Like, it really felt like Dante was kind of a step back from a combat perspective.
Well, no, did you mess with like the different styles? I mean,
yeah, I mean, I would switch
you really
up.
like, tried Royal Guard, you tried Trickster, you tried these different styles.
Yeah, yeah, Gunslinger and then Devil Guard.
This is coming from David, who's just his
It's
first
true,
time
yeah,
playing.
yeah.
Okay, so I think for real Devil May Cry fans, when you finally get Dante again, you're given everything. You have all his styles, you have all these cool weapons, and it's just a huge overload of options. Like people who think the combat isn't deep, they're insane. It's like the deepest combat ever.
It could be as deep as you want it to be. It could just be a straight up button masher, and you can still do relatively well.
You barely even have time in the game to realize what Dante's capable of. That's why you have to play it again.
So why are you focusing on Dante so much?
But he's the star.
But you should focus on Nero, first of all.
Nero's the star of this game.
Yeah, like David just found this awesome trick video where you can air counts in the air, keep on going up.
For like a minute and a half, you just keep knocking them.
Like the Devil Bringer has a lot of uses that aren't apparent at first, and if you're used to playing as Dante, you won't even want to use it at the beginning. You don't have to, and the game feels kind of slow and limited because you don't have all those moves that Dante has.
I didn't like it when I was playing Dante. And I played DMC 1, DMC 3, beat DMC 1 on Devil May Die mode. And I was like, wait, why am I playing Dante? I've spent so much effort playing Nero. I got so accustomed playing Nero, and I have to switch styles. And I'm fumbling through controller, trying to switch styles, and it's just like, it was incongruous to me.
The Pandora weapon is the coolest weapon in
very
any
cool.
Devil May Cry ever. The mini game of having to like input these different motions on the analog stick to keep transforming it is like a really deep and complex new way to approach like guns in this game.
In order to use it, there's a long startup time. Most people won't use it.
I was able to use it effectively against bosses. Like during regular combat,
Try
not
it
so much.
on hard mode, when the bosses are way tougher. Try it. The core strategy is run up to the boss, dodge it, slash it, then use the Yamato, or use the Devil Trigger to increase your attacks.
Yeah.
Well,
But if you're spending so much time in the Pandora's box, you don't have time to do anything. You're stuck in the animation, and you can't cancel it. It's like almost like Lost Planet.
Okay, speaking about bosses, get ready to fight every boss 3 times through your first playthrough of the game. Typical of Japanese action games is you fight them all twice. In this one, you fight them all thrice. Where Capcom decided to make you fight these bosses again as Dante, they're just a cakewalk. I mean, they're not even like real. It's like a regular fight almost, you know? Right. Because of that, the repetition isn't as horrible and damaging to this game as people might think. When you hear you fight the bosses 3 times, it's still fun. And Dante can like whip their ass so quickly that shows you the difference between Nero and Dante's gameplay.
I don't think you're playing Nero.
Yeah, I don't think you're playing him right, because there were...
Do you ever use the instant rev?
Yeah.
Really? Every combo you do, everything that affects your style points,
To get
instant
like,
rev.
instant hit, the best hit on the rev, like that's kind of hard. That timing
But
is
that's
hard.
instant rev. That's
Right,
the whole point of
right.
instant
But
rev.
the average player won't be able to do that.
I've been doing it.
You're a Devil May Cry expert, dude.
I've been able to do
David,
it. Like,
alright.
not every time, but I can do it pretty consistently, like 1 or 2 times in the middle of the
It's
console.
crucial
Like,
for
the
gameplay. Instant rev is such a meta game of itself.
Yeah.
I find it compulsively doing it every time.
It kind of reminded me of Gears of War when you get the active reload, and it's like all timing based. It really reminded me of that.
know, there's some cool environments, some surprising twists, and there's so many unlockables and so many reasons to replay that there's actually a lot of length here. The difficulty ramps up well. You should play through normal the first time and then switch to hard.
It's enough substance for the hardcore gamers, and it's definitely good pace for the casual gamer.
Yeah. At a very core level, I think the gameplay of Devil May Cry 4 is maybe the best action-adventure, hack-and-slash gameplay I've ever seen. More so than Ninja Gaiden, which before was my, like, high watermark, pinnacle. Just the amount of moves at your disposal, the amount of style, and, like, the way it encourages you to play stylously, I think it's second to none.
Your deadline's gonna be a little bit past ours. If you give it to us early, we can put videos online and everything.
Are you that new guy at Game Videos? I don't know who you are.
Yes, I'm the
It
producer.
doesn't matter. We need this for EGM. There are already videos online. Our guys in Japan, Mark and John, they already have that, dude. Leave us alone. We need our copy, dude. Just go watch.
You're kidding me. Shit, really? What the fuck am I talking to you for?
Go talk to your boss, whoever you are.
Dude, what the fuck? They already have it?
Shit.
Nice.
Are you kidding me? Nobody fucking tells me anything.
I know, we're always the last to know. Well, shit.
What have I been doing all day?
I honestly don't know.
Well, we should just get them to cover it then.
That's not a bad idea.